Hello and welcome to Take Time. I am your host, Patrick Marlett, and welcome to another installment of Watch Collecting Pet Peeves. So in this segment, I like to take time and discuss our watch collecting pet peeves, things that really trouble us about this hobby that we either can or cannot fix. And the first one I want to talk about today, now this isn't a problem that everyone's going to run into, but for those of us who size our own bracelets, when you get a bracelet that you cannot size properly, it is the worst feeling in the world. And I mean that there aren't enough links provided, enough links or half links or micro adjustments to make the strap wear comfortably on your wrist. Now, as you guys might have known, I did a review of this Seiko rider here on the show already, and I talked about how it was missing half links or more steps in the micro adjustment to make it wear comfortably on my wrist. As I have it sized now, it wears just a little too loose for my liking, but it drives me insane. And it's really unfortunate because you know what? The watch is really great. Overall, I really love this watch, but there's just no great way to get it to size on my wrist. Like, I'm gonna have to find a replacement clasp if I'm gonna continue wearing it comfortably. But if you've ever had a watch that was lacking those links or lacking the micro adjustments, let me know, because you know what? It's a serious problem. And it's a great watch, don't get me wrong, but you know what? I don't like it when my watch is this loose on my wrist. When I go to check the time and it slides down and I have to adjust my angle to catch it to see what time it is, it's maddening. If you've ever had this issue with whole links, half links, or micro adjustments, let me know. Or even if it's a strap that's nylon, canvas, leather, whatever it is, and it doesn't size right, it is one of the worst feelings, especially when you get a brand new watch and you're spending an hour just removing and adding links to get it to size to your wrist. It's maddening how awful that experience is. Oh, and I'll tell you what, one of those watches for me is actually my Grand Seiko. They've provided 2 half links and they've provided an arrangement of whole links, but the clasp itself doesn't have any micro adjustment layers. So they just presume that you're going to be able to get it to fit with all the links that were provided. And it just doesn't fit the way I want it to, unfortunately. And I've punched out those, and they're punch pins, like they're not screw-in links, so I have to use a pusher to push the links out and remove them that way manually, get the collars to fit. It's a time-consuming process trying to gauge what size fits you. And unfortunately, with my Grand Seiko, that's also an issue. And it's frustrating with that because I love that watch. It gets a huge pass on my part. It actually wears probably just as loose as this one. But again, it's forgiven because that watch is impeccable. If you have a watch like this, let me know what model it is so I can avoid it, or let me know what strap options you use as an alternative. But I couldn't imagine if you had a watch that had a bracelet that was integrated, you're SOL. And the next thing I want to vent about here, and I'm sure you all have seen this as well, and it's a really, really annoying marketing strategy. I've actually commented on another marketing strategy that isn't the complaint today, but new old stock. When people say NOS and it's not truly NOS, it's missing the hand tags, the outer box, the papers, whatever the watch was originally supposed to come with. If it doesn't have all those things in one place, it's not NOS. This one, however, is infuriating. Now, the sales text I'm referring to is something that I've seen pop up more and more often these days. It's honestly replacing NOS as the new marketing term for something to pull people in. And it must be working because more and more people are labeling their sales like this. But when you see the text, "poor man," before the actual listing title, that just drives me crazy. Let's get this straight. This hobby, all of it, is a luxury, okay? Timepieces are a luxury item. So when something says the poor man's Hoyer or the poor man's 62 Moss and it still cost thousands of dollars to acquire, that is absolutely crazy. What poor man is spending $1,500 for a Whackman that looks like a Hoyer? And I've seen this with Zodiacs. I've seen it, especially with chronographs, by the way. I've noticed this problem of things being stated as the poor man watch with a lot of chronographs. And more often than not, those chronographs are in the $1,000 to $2,000 range, or at least that's what the asking prices are that I've seen on them. It's ridiculous. Like, amongst all of the marketing jargon out there, poor man's is just the most upsetting. One, it's a disgusting way to sell a watch. And two, what are you saying about your target demographic? I don't like to put down people in the watch community. If you like your watch, that's the most important part. But when you're telling someone that, oh, you're getting the poor man's watch, how snooty is that? It's so obnoxious. And I'm sure there are people, maybe some of you watching this now, that market your sales that way. And I'm sure you mean no disrespect, but it is just a bad way to market an item. I'm not interested in that. I want to know the reference number. I want to know what exact model year it is. There are things that are much more important to put in the few characters you get to put in the title of your listing that you can avoid putting poor man's watch. Because I doubt people are searching poor man's watch when they go to look up a timepiece for sale. All people are really trying to do with that title is tell you that this is something that looks very similar to something that you can't afford. And that just makes you feel shitty. So let's just avoid titling things as poor man's items from here on out. Now, the last complaint I'd like to make is one I hear a lot on the channel, on forums, on Facebook groups, and it's petty and it's not petty. And I'm aware that I asked this question myself, but that is, does the watch hack? Does the timepiece hack? Furthermore, does it hand wine? But I just want to talk about timepieces that hack right now. When I started collecting watches, none of the timepieces I acquired, unless it was a quartz timepiece, hacked. None of the auto mechanical or hand winding mechanical watches I had hacked, and it wasn't an issue early on. I didn't really think about it. I'm like, it's just gonna give me an approximate time. Very, very cool. I like this timepiece. But once I got that first hacking watch, there was no turning back. I became a complete hack snob. I could not have a watch without hacking. As a matter of fact, I will disregard listings for a timepiece, or I'll just disregard searching a watch if I know that the caliber inside of it doesn't allow hacking. There's something about setting your watch when you hack it perfectly at that second at the 12 o'clock position, that you feel like, yes, I'm starting my day off right. I'm starting this watch off right. It is going to be so time accurate. And the thing is, with most modern watches, chronometry isn't the biggest concern for these brands. It was before, but for a lot of groups in like the consumer price range, which I would say would be $500 to $3,000, chronometry isn't the largest concern. It is for some groups, but just because your seconds-hand hacks doesn't mean it's going to be the end-all, be-all equation into your watch having accurate time. Now, I still apply this philosophy as I collect. I like my watches to hack, but I feel like as collectors, we've become a little too snobbish about the hacking functionality of our watch. I don't think it is of the utmost importance, and I don't think it should dissuade you from purchasing a watch that doesn't hack. In all honesty, I think it's just a silly detriment to a watch that's otherwise probably really great. So folks, do not let whether or not hacks or doesn't hack deter you from buying it. Do not let the size of your bracelet deter you from liking it. But do question your life choices if you're purchasing something that's the poor man's variant. You mean to say you can't afford the real thing? It's silly. That is the biggest one today. I think that is the biggest pet peeve of mine today. I can deal with a watch that doesn't hack if I have to. I can deal with a bracelet that doesn't fit perfectly if I have to. But let me own whatever watch I want to own. Whew, I'm glad I got that out of my system. Guys, if there are other pet peeves you'd like to share on the channel, this is the video to do so. Feel free to leave any of those watch collecting pet peeves in the comments section down below. I have a whole host of nuisances I'd love to describe here on the show, and I love incorporating your thoughts, so please feel free to leave any of those in the comment section down below. Gang, if you found this video enlightening or entertaining in the least, feel free to hit that like button. It looks exactly like this. As a matter of fact, they've modeled the like button after my hand. Fun fact, YouTube hired me as the like hand model. I don't know who did the dislike button. That wasn't me. But the like button, that was me. If you have friends, forums, or groups that like talking about watch-related content, well, maybe you should share this video with them. I know a lot of us as collectors have pet peeves, and I think it's fun to talk about them. I hear about them on a regular basis from my friends, and also just socially here on YouTube and in Facebook. So feel free to share the conversation today. And also, If this is your first time visiting the channel, I don't only complain about watches, I also review them, discuss them, I run vlogs and interviews here. So if you haven't subscribed yet, maybe hit the subscribe button, and while you're down there, there's a bell icon that will notify you as to when my videos release. So if you wanted to get my videos immediately as they turn up, that is the best way to do so. Again, my name is Patrick Marlatt, and thank you for the time.